right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Saturday um, to another Minecraft Musings. So, I've been doing a lot of Snoop Dogg Fortnite lately, and that's just kind of, an homage to a legend, a music legend and all that. And it's definitely a fun game, but it's really hard to think when I'm playing that game. So, for a proper Musings, I wanted to come back to my nice little world in Minecraft. And like usual, I'm working on a gigantic emerald structure, like an emerald tower, and I think I'm gonna make that the ofrenda. I'm split between two, and so for those that have seen a few more of my musings, my older ones especially, every now and then I'll go back and I'll like pay respect to the people that are no longer here with me. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, but I just feel like that's one of the things of Spanish culture and not just Spanish, Latin culture, I guess, or Latinx, or however you want to say it. Like the Dia de los Muertos, which just recently passed. It's a day to honor the dead. We do it in different ways. We have Veterans Day, or well, really Memorial Day. Veterans is more to like honor the people that are still living, but really just showing respect to the people, pouring one out for the homies, like pouring out the last inch of a beer or something. Even though I don't drink alcohol anymore, probably never would in the first place had cannabis been more popular back in the day, or even legal. I mean, it was definitely popular, but it was very, very illegal the whole time I was growing up. And you know it's one of the things that just like drives me nuts. I discuss things with people that like, oh well, like weed's gonna make you stupid. Cannabis or marijuana, they like to still call it the other things, or weed or pot, or like a disgusting term like a slur or something, like with hate and venom. But anyways, that's actually not why I'm on here. Well, partially. So you've got the Grateful Dead, which, a bunch of hippies united under the name of the Grateful Dead, or the Dead family. Hippies have been running things secretly for a long time. Some not so good. I mean, one of our ventures was a big ripoff from someone who claimed to be part of the Dead family. And when I find them, I mean, I'm not going to do anything, just be like, I'm disappointed. That's about the extent of it. But it was like $5,000. But anyways, but no, working on things now. I mean, so with the recent election, things are going to change, or things are going to be intense, and I think, love him or hate him, I think Donald Trump is going to be doing some things that really kind of rock the foundation of our government. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I will tell you this: I have started to question, democratic values for certain things. Like I feel like they're just like treating us like children in certain areas. Like, we'll say this. The biggest thing was I saw Chuck Schumer on camera, and he had a hot mic, or he was on a hot mic. He didn't realize he was being recorded, and he was talking to somebody. He was like, "Well, we're just pretending to fight. We're really not." And that could have been about anything, but for some reason, and it's that communication bias. Like, I mean, I'm already a little sore about the legalization of weed topic, because it's put so many people in trouble, and really drugs in general too, like any drug. Woo! Because no substance is as dangerous as getting caught with it. We make it extremely dangerous. We make it extremely debilitating. Like we put people in prison. We make people go to drug classes. And I remember I was in quite a few of these weed classes, and I remember this one guy. He was a pretty heavy set guy, and he just had weed in his system. And they were like, "Look, you need to, we can tell you're smoking still." Or you're using cannabis to this day, or marijuana, of course. They didn't call it cannabis because this was back when it was still illegal. They wanted it to be a dirty word and then play off of anybody's racial bias, like make it a Spanish word, because a lot of people hate Spanish, and like, or they have like negative connotations attached to that. Unfortunately, now luckily I was one of the few that we took Spanish. My friends and I took Spanish class all 4 years in high school. We loved it. We thought we were speaking in some kind of code that a large part of the world could also understand. So it kind of gave us a sense of community with Spanish-speaking people, and we were bad at it. I mean, it was only like, it was high school Spanish, so we could be tourists. In fact, we went down to Costa Rica, and like, I did a little host family stay, which I neglected that. I need to reach out to that host family, because we were supposed to write them a letter once we got back. I didn't. I was such a drunk at the time. Like I was having my own demons, but nowadays, like with how much I travel and everything, and how interconnected everything is, it'd be interesting. But anyways, So we didn't have as nearly as much of a bias against Spanish-speaking people. If anything, we felt a little closer to Spanish-speaking people because we could at least be like, hey, if you don't speak a lick of English, we could help you out. Like we could help direct you to somewhere or help guide you to what you need or at least point you in the right direction to someone who could speak better than us. But, it's kind of like being able to give someone water in a desert. It's like, I mean, not nearly that extreme, but like when they're feeling frustrated and like frantic and, you know, you can speak Spanish. And also being a visitor too. Like I want to continue to travel and like learn other languages, at least pieces of it. It's hard because like, well, anyways, back to the other things, the hippies. And I've been keeping an eye on China and like gently poking at that and seeing what they think about legalizing cannabis in China. They've got Thailand right next to them that has legal weed. They've been enjoying it. Of course, they have a lot of things going on in Thailand. It's kind of like a Wild West type area, like lawless parts. There's more of like an experimental, I think, kind of like how we have Vegas, and then we had to reel it in too because Vegas kind of got away from us a bit. There was a lot of bad things going on. It was Sin City, it was like where people went to go do drugs and go do wild parties and stuff, and then basically like freak offs like Diddy. I mean, it's human nature, just out of curiosity, like how far can we go, and when does it stop being fun? And when does it start turning dark? And then try to just get right up to that point, as much good as you can without the bad. And then at the same time, you got, police running around trying to stop all of it. Like, in fact, I remember there was a time if you got caught with like even a marijuana seed in Vegas, it was a felony. Like they were very strict about weed there. Now it's legal. But I just remember because like they were already like people were already going there to do things that you wouldn't be doing at home, and that's like vacation in a nutshell. Um, I experienced a lot of that up in at Monarch Ski Resort. Working at any ski resort, you've got people going there just getting really messed up on all sorts of drugs and alcohol, and then going and having a good time because that's what vacation's for. You're supposed to let loose and do things you wouldn't do at home. But for the people that work there, like that's their home, their job, and like and although it was funny because a lot of times we were just as blazed as they were, so like you'd be like, "Yeah, man, what up? I'll go enjoy." I mean, but and I guess that's part of why I've always had more of a positive outlook on cannabis because I've seen people in like life or death situations be able to. Oh wait, let's see here. We gotta start picking and choosing. I'd rather the pumpkins, but we really do need to go empty out some of this. But almost we were able to take a full thing. So, but anyways, I've just seen people function that either smoke weed regularly or were currently smoking weed at the time, and they were just as safe, just as professional, just as courteous, just as anything. And it just like proved to me that there are ways to do it to where you're not some worthless, lazy stoner like slacker, like the movie Half Baked. Movies like that give stoners a bad name because that's when like people that are using weed like smoke way too much. Like they're just like they're getting plastered and plowed, like to where they aren't good at all. But now people are finding out like not only that are there the two main strains, sativa and indica, where you could smoke sativa all day and not really be like impaired. I mean, there's some that are such low like percentage of actual THC or the other tetrahydrocannabinols. Um, like there's different ones, or there's different types of the chemicals. It's not just like THC in every single one. I mean, there is, but like, or is it cannabinoids? I forget the exact terminology, but I had a friend kind of explain everything. He used to work for a dispensary, and they do. Like when you train for that, you need to be certified. You need to pass a class, like or take a class. You're registered with the state as a seller of cannabis, which is hilarious to me because I had no training and no qualification. And I get it now. Like, I mean, back in my high school days, like all I had was like a bag of weed in the trunk. Like, you got whatever I got. And we were all in like quality control was I would test it first, make sure it didn't die, and then, oh, I don't think I gave him enough time to hold the bottle, but that's okay. I did just get one of those the other night. But anyways, it's much better not as a black market. I am so happy to see it in stores, regulated, like people understand what they're putting in their bodies. It's a beautiful thing, and like there's a lot of danger in the past. Like you'd find like dog poo in your weed. You'd find dog hair. Like people might put heroin in it, lace it with something, like try to make it more addicting, and it's just ridiculous. But like I don't know, it's but and because some people just want to watch the world burn, and I guess that is part of it. Also, I think I could fix this up now. Because technically all of this is supposed to be like I try to make it the same, like matching the upstairs. So it goes to where the dirt ends, and then there's a two unit. So this is fine, but this all needs to be dirt, and we can actually fix all this. You got to be careful too whenever it gets by the water. So as you can see, as soon as I do this, in fact, let's put this right here. Okay. And then we can take a quick peek down here and see if the water wrecked our crops at all. Nope, looking good. But it could have. Definitely could have. In fact, we got to be careful with this too, so let's go ahead and carve this out. Just kind of mark where the water is. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, it just means that it's going to take some time to regrow. I'll have to replant, maybe go up and get the hoe. Um, but anyways, no. I think the biggest thing, like, I am a living example of why cannabis really is harmless. Not only just harmless, but it also might evoke deeper thinking, actually smarter people. So I smoked a ton in high school, a ton in college. Like we're talking literal pounds of cannabis, like in my lifetime. Probably pounds of mushrooms too. Um, and I think that's the other thing too, is like I was slotted for military intelligence for the Marines. They thought my mind was good enough to work with nuclear submarines or to guard the president or to literally do any job in the military. And I was, and I still am, you know, dedicated. Like as much as I've talked trash about Trump back in the day, and even, you know, I've posted some pretty offensive memes, but if push came to shove, I would defend our president because that's just what you do. Like, you know, you like to trust that they do know what they're doing, at least to a point, or even if they don't know, they are going to give the say to someone who does know, you know, and it's, and like I was starting to say, I'm trusting the Democrats less and less, and it's a sad day because I want to. Like they say the good things, they say the things you want to hear, like stand up for the little person, like you know, women equality, like equality for people that you know have different colored skin or different religions or all these things, and you know, and through my journeys in life, I've met many people that have differences, and you know, and it breaks my heart thinking that they would ever be treated as less of a person just because of that, like you know, because of how they were raised, like because they're God, even though, and that's the biggest crock of nonsense is every God is the same God. Like every religion is like praying to whoever's responsible to putting us here, whoever is responsible to making us. Like it's not like the Islam God is like some like weird 15 horned goat devil god looking thing. No, it's God. Like it's the creator. You know, flying spaghetti monster with the Pastafarians, like, you know, still give respect to whoever or whatever created us and thanks, but at the same time understands that, well, we don't really have any evidence that, you know, this creator is anything other than maybe it's a flying spaghetti monster, like one of the most ridiculous things that you could think about, because we literally have no evidence, no hard, concrete, replicable evidence of anything otherwise. And actually, I was just watching a video clip with Joe Rogan, and I like Joe Rogan. Like, I mean, I've always liked him since, like, you know, the Dave Chappelle days. He was hilarious in that. I mean, and it was just, you know, it was, of course, it was Dave Chappelle, like, you know, I smoke rocks, Joe Rogan, being Tyrone Biggums, like joking about crack users, which, and again, I'll relate to that. Like, love him or hate him, Hunter Biden is a perfect example of why you can literally smoke crack, and if you have money, it's not that big of a deal. It's ridiculous, like, you know, because you grow up thinking, oh, crack, that's such a horrible thing. Like, you know, at least I'm not doing that. Like, that's what most people say when they're smoking weed for the first time. They're like, well, at least it's not like crack or anything, like the really dangerous stuff. But then you see like one of this very cleaned up, like high important professional person on camera with like felonious amounts, like the same amounts that, oh shoot, well, that's ruined. Anyways, now you'll see what happens. Yeah, it just a little bit. It wasn't too bad. I did lose. Looks like I lost one seed somehow. That's right. I'll come back down and fix these. So that just means it's going to take a little longer for that to grow. Not a big deal. I've got tons and tons of things. I mean, this is long overdue to fix this anyway. See, that's what I should have done. So then it doesn't have time to flow. But anyways, no, and the weed thing. So why do I keep talking about this? Why, what's the point of all this? Well, I do have a lot of friends that are, they've been hippies for a long time. Not a lot. I mean, that's kind of like overstating, but I have enough to where, and they all know the people that got in trouble, for growing weed, selling weed, even having weed. And it drives me nuts too, because the whole, how they keep talking. Again, the Democrats really kind of irking me because they say nobody should be in jail for simple possession. No, nobody should be in jail for anything weed related, period. It is a big misunderstanding that weed has ever been dangerous, ever. Like people treat it like it's like a nuclear bomb, like, oh my gosh, no. And that's the dangerous thing about it is because it smells so strong. It's almost impossible to hide. Like it's fluffy, like it's not like literally any other drug is just a powder synthesized in a baggie. Like for the most part. I mean, I guess mushrooms, but and same thing with that. Like mushrooms are kind of hard to hide, like unless you process them down into powder. And then I don't even know if they work all that well. I mean, of course they probably do, but I'd have to study that and see like tests done about it and all that. I don't know. So why talk about all this? Well, now that it is legal, so I'm trying to convince China to legalize it too. And even going so far as to offer hey, I have friends that they will fly out there, they'll teach you how to grow it, teach you the differences, basically talk to me as my one buddy did that worked for a dispensary. He was able to explain all the differences. I mean, the main difference is the two different strains, sativa versus indica. Like indica it's a lot easier to be more dangerous, like don't operate machinery with it. Like it can make you lazier, like it can make you really slow, slothful, and really impaired. Whereas sativa, it's almost like more like a vitamin. It doesn't, if you don't use a lot of it, you just be in a happier mood. Nobody could even tell that you're impaired because you're not impaired. Like, oh, see, that was close. We gotta do it back from here. Plus, this just makes more room, more headroom. I feel like I wish I could do slabs of pumpkin or slabs of a light source. Okay. Oh, and that almost sounds like some new music. So why do I keep stressing about this? Well, great news. So I've been saying this a little bit on the Snoop Dogg videos, the Fortnite videos. I talked to Fading West, which is a company that builds prefab houses and then ships them, basically builds building block houses that you can mix and match and combine, stack on top of each other, stuff like that. And they've got two projects in BV. And if you're just joining us, I'm from Buena Vista, BV, and it's just a small town up in the mountains where we're very serious about our football and geez, that music is getting kind of loud. But anyways, it's just a very tight-knit community. And anybody who's ever been to BV or lived there for a long time, you become very tight because during the winter especially, you almost just get sectioned off because it's too hard to go to the city. It's too far. I mean, it's a 2-hour drive to get to Denver or Colorado Springs. And then, which we used to do, once a month, my parents would round us up, spend a lot of money in gas and, and food and expenses and take the whole day to go down there and 4 hours of driving, mind you, in a 12-hour day just to have 3 or 4 hours. Oops. There we go. Fixed it. And so it was a big deal. Now you can shop online and all that, but even that, you can't really get, I imagine BV is still very different as far as Amazon goes, because I doubt they go up there all that much. And when they do, it's probably really expensive to ship up there, because it's extra gas, extra time and all that. But anyways, a part of that is we loved weed up there. Loved it. And hated it too. There were people up there that just absolutely hated it, specifically because a lot of people worked in the prisons up there. Holy cow, huh? Let's turn this down a little bit. This is audio. Chill, chill. There we go. Maybe even 40. Jeez, I can't even hear myself think. It's like boom, 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 boom. Although I like it though. It's nice music. Okay, that's a little better, but it's just like overpowering. It's like boom, 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 boom. So, anyways, so there's two main projects up there. There's a 60 unit and then there's a 218 unit project. And I didn't know about the 218 unit project one because I'd called and asked them about like prices because I do have some investors that might want to do a project between BV and Salida, but maybe not now. I actually have to reach out to some of them and talk to them about it, but because it seems like it's a non-issue. Like if there's 218 units going up, and my main concern is for the locals. Like it kind of gives me a little heartburn thinking that there might be a bunch of people moving there, migrating there. 'Cause it's like, yeah, it was such a protected thing, like a gem. And then, yeah. Of course, I think it's also we just need to get our population under control. Like, I mean, and that's one of the things that's confusing with Elon Musk is like he kept talking about how our population is in decline, and if we don't start increasing the birth rates, like and I just kind of look around and be like, are you kidding me? Let's take care of the people we have first. And this is what drives me nuts about Elon. He posted this other thing about Doge, which I am excited about Doge to see if there can be some cuts, but also nervous because that's probably someone's job. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of sympathy because I've had to struggle in work, quite a bit to where it's like, well, people didn't really care about me back in the day. Like, oh, so that's your job, whatever. And I got laid off from a few different jobs. So it's like, cry me a river. But anyways, no, it's not really nice to say, but no, he was saying work 80 plus hours a week. That's insane. And like, if you care about humanity, you would never say something like that. Like anybody who has actually worked 80 hours out of necessity, and I know Elon works a lot of like really long hours, and he loves to be like that lifestyle, but he's never had to survive. He's never had to. It's just like a nice to do. Like, oh, that's cool, and and I'm sure he would even say like 40 hours is probably better, and he's just got this driving factor, because he's got these idle hands that never had to worry about like, oh, am I going to be homeless? Like, do I have to have roommates to survive? Like, then I have to get along with people strangers that I don't know and live in a house and share resources. Like, he's probably, I mean, I say that, but I have seen pictures of him in college, hanging out with other college students and most likely having a roommate and all that and like experiencing what that's like. But like having to do that, like, imagine going to jail, and for the same thing, because he smoked a blunt on camera, like that would have put you in jail, once upon a time. So like, don't even kid yourself that like you don't merit the same treatment. It's just you've had privilege. You haven't had to worry about that. Anyways, the post was he was trying to hire people. He's recruiting people for Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. And in it, he said, "Are you willing to work 80 plus hours?" And I commented, I mean, not that I ever want to work that job. I love my job, and even if my job fell through, there's a good chance I could work for another university doing IT because I have such a good reputation now that just like I'm very patient and I love my job and I love to help people with their tech. It's a passion of mine. Like I love helping people. And I'm good at it, like not to toot my own horn, but because it doesn't matter what the thing is. And it doesn't even matter if we fix the problem most of the time. Like, I mean, I don't think I've actually met anybody that was really upset, or at least they were too kind to be like, oh, I'm really upset about this. But like, as long as you're just listening and like showing some respect, and granted, like I'm still saying like 99% of the time I do fix the issue, and a lot of times it's just like a simple Google search, but I've done it a lot more. It's like, if you're more used to doing something, then you should be doing it to help people, or at least show people and teach them. And it goes back to the biblical thing. Like if you give a person a fish, they'll eat for a day. But if you teach a person to fish, they'll eat for life. And that's so true. Also think about South Park too. Like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That was Star Trek when Spock, like I think it was Spock died in like the thing, or William Shatner died in the thing. I don't know. And then they recreated in one of their more recent Star Trek movies. and it was like somebody had to be inside this like dangerous area to push a button or to pull a lever or to do something, but they couldn't do it remotely. They had to have somebody in there. And then even Rick and Morty like redesigned that or redid it too, in the the amusement park that was like exploring diseases in someone's body, and like the doctor amoeba or whatever had to stay behind to push the controls. But he's like, wait a minute, here's an auto control after the train already left. He's like, wait, and then he gets killed by the diseases. Anyways, the point of it though is that if you can do something that can benefit just you, okay, that benefits you, good job. Now what if you could do something that benefits like the five people around you but not you? Which would you do? And the lesson is you would do the one that benefits the five people because that's the best, the greatest good. I mean, of course, other factors being the same. Like, I mean, you're not going to die from it. And that's when you get into the Saw movies, which are profound. Like, you know, people are in life or death situations and they have to make choices. Like, how much pain or shame or humiliation or embarrassment or like, I mean, that's all kind of the same. But like the most recent one, he was like giving up secrets, and he was forcing these people to reveal that they had committed crimes that should put them in prison, you know, for a long time, even life, and they got away with it, but they didn't really. And so then Jigsaw's like, okay, well, I want to play a game. You're going to either come to terms or you're going to die here because you really don't deserve the life that you have. And for those that haven't seen Saw, like that's the whole point of the entire series is like there's this guy that he was, you know, diagnosed with cancer. He's angry at God or the creator, whoever it is, the flying spaghetti monster, and he wants to, you know, make people appreciate the lives they have because it's too late for him. He's done. He's got a death sentence. Like, and thinking about Breaking Bad, which is also about cancer, he says every life comes with a death sentence. You know, we're all born to die, so it's just how you choose to live it. You know, which is also profound. And so I love that show is like because it just takes this very uncomfortable subject of cancer and how like anybody who's ever had to deal with it knows that it's a very ugly thing and you know potentially life ending. So I don't know. We just kind of went way around, but the hippies have always known, like people that love the Grateful Dead, that go to these shows, that will smoke bud in the audience. In fact, I remember I went to a String Cheese Incident concert. I didn't even go to the concert. I was up on the hill enjoying the show for free, um, which is like another thing too. Like people barely have enough money. Like we only budget enough to just make it by. Like very rarely are we in a position, at least until we're older, to be like, oh yeah. And then like when you first learn about money, because I worked, you know, my very first summer being 14, um, I worked legally and not even a burger flipper. I was the little grill, so I'd toast the hot dog buns and the Texas toast, and I would stock the grill. So like I would go get the more hamburger patties or more hamburger buns or whatever, and I would like or onion rings or fries, and I would just make sure they had what they needed. And it was an elderly couple that ran the burger joint, um, and I was very grateful for that. Like I worked a lot for not a lot of money. I think it was $5.15 an hour when I started. That was the very first wage that I made. And I was only working, you know, 3, 4 hours a day, like maybe after school, but most of the time it was my Saturdays and Sundays. I would work a shift and then I'd get, you know, maybe a couple $100 every other week for my pay. And I was excited about that. You know, I could go buy music, buy Snoop Dogg CDs, Eminem CDs, bought some Bone Thug, bought some Cypress Hill, bought some South Park Mexican, you know, and I'd spend my money on stupid, well, not stupid things like that. That was really good things, but like also stupid things, like maybe like a cat or a dog leash chain to pretend that I had like a gold chain, you know, like I wanted to pretend to be like those musicians that I saw, like, you know, just imitation, all that. But the biggest thing with all that was the chronic, was the weed, and these musicians, they were saying it was like, you know, they were saying it because they were bold enough that they had the money, like very inflated very quickly, and then they made decisions like, oh, let's do a bunch of drugs and party and stuff, and then they would like sing or rap about their experiences, be like, wait, that was all that was? And we like, I mean, the other stuff, yeah, Dope Man, like from NWA's song Dope Man, like that was the dark version of like where when drugs can go wrong, you know, and that's when, yeah, things like crack and coke and all that, like they are dangerous, they're not good things, like, But then wheat being lumped into them, and not only just lumped into them, being ranked as the number one most dangerous drug, a Schedule One substance, worse than heroin, worse than like stimulants, like all these things. And it's like, and that's just been the reality since Reefer Madness. And that's the other thing, and this is a lot of like social engineering, like reverse psychology, like social manipulation, like, oh, so you still believe Western ideals? Oh, that's the thing. But I'll finish with this, like, kind of like a Huckleberry Finn or whatever, like trick them into being like, no, what, we're so free, yeah. And it's like, okay, do it or show me. Or like if for a flat earther, like if you think the Earth is flat, throw me off the edge of the world. And that there's a story about that. I think Wishbone covered it. And it's the TV show that used to have the dog read the old stories, which was great. But and it was funny because you see Wishbone in a boat, the little doggy that talks, being sailed all around the world, and they just can't find the end of the world. So then they just give up and admit that they didn't. Also, I got to fix all that. I got one too long. Got this not long enough. Like so. But anyways, for now, I gotta just wanted to do a musing and tack this on. Actually, wait. Let's look at the Emerald Tower real quick. So that's gonna be the next playlist, I believe. We're going to go into making some serious structures in this world. And this is still the same realm. I've learned my lesson. I lost one of my favorite worlds. It got corrupted just because I was dusting and I accidentally like bumped one of the plugs or something and they glitched out. But anyways, this is on, I pay a good $8-9 a month for this. And there we go. There's the Joker's Tower or something. It's got purple and green, two of my favorite colors. I've always loved the Joker. Same as my snowboard. My snowboard's a purple and green. Just beautiful, like, looks like someone just ate a bunch of mushrooms and then painted it. And I love it. And just very creative. And that's actually the amethyst. And so, and I'm essentially going to make that tower to build height, I think. I mean, I still also want to make a pyramid there, of emerald blocks, just kind of like a pyramid down. But then I was like, nah, I kind of like it over the water. But this, it's going to be a tower all the way up. And I was going to put that, and one of these two, either this will be the ofrenda, like I'll dedicate some space in there to like give respect and remembrance to the people in my life that are no longer here, that, in the off chance that there are ghosts or an afterlife, and then they could see the beautiful, in fact, let's show the beautiful view. And this is why I think this is going to be the memorial tower or something. And I mean, I'm going to need a lot more emeralds to continue to fill all this in. Like, as you can see, it starts to get very sparse the farther up we go. Like, columns aren't even finished, walls aren't finished. Oh, and that's the other cool thing. That's how I love walking on amethyst. I need to find some more geodes to get some more amethyst. But anyway, so here's the very top. And as you can see, it's very beautiful. You can see all like the cherry blossom grove, like that mountain, the chairlift, all the other towers. The towers that are still to be constructed. That house way out there, and you can see out into the bay, the sea, or whatever it is. I want to build a lot of stuff out there. You can see into the water from up here, and you could even do wee. Oh, that never gets old. That would probably kill you in real life, but or at least do some damage. But in here, it's fine. So, anyways, ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Just some real exciting things. Or I guess the moral of that story is like, as much as I'm trying to plan and plot and try to be involved in this stuff, there's already tons more people that are sprinting doing these things. So I was trying to make a housing project in Chaffee County. There's already one for 218 units. Like, and when I was even talking to the lady on the phone, um, I just explained to her, I was like, I'm just trying to see what's out there and see where I can help. Like, I have a lot of friends that need affordable housing. I need affordable housing. I think hippie farms would be a really good thing. And like the more and more people move away from the stigma that weed is bad, I mean, it's not like great either. Like, it's not like the healthy thing. Like, I mean, moderation in all things, but in terms of like stress reduction and being kinder to other people, alcohol is the enemy and weed is the answer. And until people let go of the alcohol industry, or at least keep it in its place, like understand that there's a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place for cannabis, like, which is always every day. or at least before bed. Even if people just like used a little before bed, didn't even if they didn't like being stoned or whatever, and that's fine. I mean, some people just don't like being out of control, and not every weed does that. But anyways, I gotta go. Ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Good night.